Fritz, what is the Illuminati? Explain in brief, if you will, what is the Illuminati, who is the Illuminati, and what is their prime objective?
The Illuminati are the powerful bloodlines that have controlled the globe. They go back to Mesopotamia and ancient Egypt, and they have quietly persisted throughout the centuries. And you can trace some of their genealogies. Some of their genealogies are hidden. One of the things that I've done in my Bloodlines of the Illuminati book is show some of the genealogies and show how some of these bloodlines go way back. So there, some people call them the powers that be, but they're not the entire structure that's controlling things. They're the string pullers, and they also have their own religion, which is Gnosticism, and they're generational. So if you're born into an Illuminati family, you may or may not actually become a member, and you may or may not become a hierarchy member. So, but it's generational. And really, after working with people that were trying to come out of the Illuminati that I was trying to help, and getting to understand the rituals that they performed, it's not an exaggeration to say that these are generational satanic families.
Right. What is the modus operandi of the Illuminati? How do they operate? How do they normally infiltrate an organization, an institution? How do they go about doing that?
Well, people that are coming into this whole subject relatively new, let's say they were introduced to the whole subject 6 months ago or a year or maybe 2 years ago, they're thinking, when did the Illuminati take control? But the actual reality of it all is they are the ones that have constructed our world system of systems. So our educational system, our pharmaceutical system, the medical health industry, all these different things like the market, the New York Stock Exchange, exchanges around the world. All these various systems were created by them. So it's not so much it's really not the concept that they have infiltrated and hijacked these. They created them. And one of the things I wanted to discuss today, which we had talked about discussing, was the apostasy in the churches. And when we, getting back to this pertains to your question, if you start looking at all these different religious groups, Jehovah's Witnesses, the LDS Mormons, the Primitive Methodists, the Adventists, Moravians, and you just start going down a long list of denominations, Christian groups, you'll see that Freemasons, a lot of times Freemasons that connect back in to the Illuminati, created these organizations. Like Joseph Smith Jr., who created the LDS Mormons, he was of this Illuminati bloodline, and all of the leadership, they call them prophets, they're presidents of the LDS Church, have been of the same bloodline, and they all go back to this Illuminati bloodline. Charles Taze Russell, who started the Watchtower Society of the Jehovah's Witnesses, he was of the Russell Illuminati family. So the question is not when did the Illuminati subvert the Mormons or when did they infiltrate and subvert the Jehovah's Witnesses, the reality is they were the ones that created these organizations.
Right. Yes. And the topic of this interview is the Illuminati infiltration into Christendom, we can say, more specifically into churches, into Protestant churches. And that's why I was asking what for people who aren't familiar with the Illuminati or how they operate, it's important that you said what you said, because now they'll have a better idea of how they infiltrate churches and why. And that brings me to the primary topic here. There's a movement happening. Two movements are happening simultaneously, and both of these movements are being influenced and were started by the global elite, the Illuminati, these ruling families, these ruling factions. And the two movements are ecumenism and the interfaith movement. Ecumenism is basically an amalgamation of all the Christian denominations, including the Catholic Church, together. So it amalgamates. Ecumenism seeks to amalgamate or to fuse all of the different denominations together under the Roman Catholic Church. In other words, it's really like all the Protestant little churches going home to the mother hen. The little Protestant chicks going home to the mother hen, which is the Catholic Church. There's a very strong ecumenism movement or ecumenical movement happening right now, and then there's a very strong interfaith movement happening, and the two kind of entwine. The interfaith movement is a movement that is seeking to amalgamate all the religions of the earth under one banner, and that's the ultimate goal. And I know you know, Fritz, that the Illuminati are seeking not only a one world political structure, but also a one world religious structure. And so they're funding, and we'll get into this in a little bit. They're actually funding and have been funding for years certain movements within the Protestant churches, moving towards ultimately a one world religion. Is that an accurate assessment?
Yes, the Illuminati have had on their agenda the creation of a one world religion. J.P. Morgan, who became an Illuminati member late in the 1800s, after he had become an Illuminati member, he started supporting an ecumenical movement to unite all of the Christian churches. And under his tutelage, financed by him, they created the Federal Council of Churches of Christ. It was called the FCCC. And the leadership of the FCCC were Freemasons. And by the way, Charles Taze Russell, who had started the Jehovah's Witnesses, you may be a little bit surprised, but he was like one of the first people that started supporting this ecumenical movement by J.P. Morgan to unite the Christian churches. The strange thing of it was, as though he verbalized in his talks around the world support for this, the Watchtower Society itself never publicly joined the FCCC. The FCCC then it transformed itself into the National Council of Churches. Notice that they dropped off the word Christ. And again, the National Council of Churches, its leadership were Freemasons. And Freemasonry is like the glove. If the Illuminati's the hidden hand that's controlling things, Freemasonry's like the glove to it. And so, again, we see high-ranking Freemasons, like G. Oxham Bromley, who was a 33rd degree Freemason. He was one of the leaders of the FCC, NCC, and then later the World Council of Churches.